The stars looked different from the bridge of the horizon. Captain Ryan Bradley watched the view screen as his ship moved through empty space. His crew was on a simple mission: check old alien stations for anything useful. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. "Captain, we're getting something weird," said Lisa Martinez. She sat at the communications station, headphones on. "There's a signal coming from that old station ahead. Real old." Ryan walked over to look at her screen. Numbers and symbols moved across it. "What kind of signal?" "Not sure yet. But it's strong, stronger than it should be from something that dead." The horizon moved closer to the station. It was huge, made from dark metal that looked black against the stars. No one had seen a station like it before. The crew had found it on their charts marked as empty, but empty things don't send signals. "Any idea who built it?" Ryan asked Dr. Alex Turner. Alex was their language expert. He spent most of his time looking at alien writing. "I've never seen this design," Alex said, squinting at the station. "It's old. Really old. Maybe 10,000 years or more." "That's impossible," said Ben Collins from the navigation station. "Nothing that old still works." "Well, something's working," Lisa said. "The signal's getting stronger." Ryan made his choice. "Take us in. Let's see what's inside." The horizon docked with the station. The metal was cold when they touched it. Ryan, Alex, and 2 security guards, Jake Miller and Beth Rhodes, went aboard. Their flashlights cut through the darkness. The station had power. Old lights flickered on as they walked. The walls were covered with symbols. Not just a few symbols, thousands of them. They covered every surface. "This is incredible," Alex whispered. He walked to the nearest wall and touched it. "These symbols, they're from different languages. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. All." "Saying what?" Ryan asked. Alex pulled out his scanner. It beeped as he moved it over the symbols. "I need time to translate. But there's something strange. They all seem to be about the same thing." They moved deeper into the station. Room after room. The walls were covered with messages. Alex stopped every few feet to scan more symbols. His face grew worried. "Captain," Alex said finally, "I'm starting to understand some of these. They're warnings." "About what?" "About us. About Earth." Ryan felt cold. "What do you mean about Earth?" Alex held up his scanner. "Look, this message is in early Zephyri. This one is in Old Korthani. This one, I can't even recognize the language. But when I run them through the translator, they all say the same thing, which is, never wake them up. Never let the humans remember. Keep them sleeping." The room went quiet. Jake and Beth looked at each other. Ryan took the scanner from Alex and read it himself. The words were clear. The sleeping giants of the blue world must remain dormant. If they wake, all is lost. "This doesn't make sense," Ryan said. "How do all these different species know about us? We've only been in space for 100 years. "Look, at the dates," Alex said, pointing to his scanner. "These messages go back 12,000 years, long before we invented the wheel." They kept walking. Each room had more messages, more warnings. Beth found a room with a large screen. When she touched it, the screen lit up. Text scrolled across it in a language none of them recognized. "Can you translate it?" Ryan asked Alex. Alex connected his scanner to the screen. It took a few minutes. Then words appeared in English. "Log entry 11-247, the humans have been pacified. Their weapons are destroyed. Their memories are erased. They will live simple lives on their homeworld. This is the only way to keep the galaxy safe." "That's impossible," Jake said. "We've found our own history. We evolved on Earth. No one put us there." Alex kept reading. "Log entry 11,048. All records of human expansion must be destroyed. Future species must be warned. The humans must never remember what they were." Ryan felt sick. "What were we?" Alex found another entry. "The human collective controlled 60% of the galaxy. Their warriors were unmatched. Their technology surpassed all others. When they finally chose peace, they asked us to help them forget. This is their wish. You're saying we asked to be made to forget? Beth asked. According to this, yes. Lisa's voice came through their radio. Captain, you need to see this. We found something else. They hurried back to the horizon. Lisa had spread charts across the communication station. I've been tracking the signal. It's not just coming from this station. There are hundreds of stations all across the galaxy, all sending the same message. All warning about us? Ryan asked. All warning about humans, yes, but there's more. I found coordinates hidden in the signal, pointing to a specific location in deep space. Ben looked at the coordinates. That's way out there, past the frontier. What's there? Lisa showed them more data. I don't know, but every alien message we've found mentions it. They call it the final warning. The place where the truth is kept. Ryan looked at his crew. They were all thinking the same thing. How long to get there? 3 weeks, Ben said. Maybe 4. Sir, Alex said quietly. Maybe we shouldn't go. Maybe they warned about us for a good reason. Maybe, Ryan said, but I need to know. We all need to know. If we were something else once, we deserve the truth. Jake spoke up. What if they're right? What if we're dangerous? Ryan was quiet for a moment. Then we need to know that too. Set course for those coordinates, full speed. As the horizon turned toward deep space, none of them saw the small probe that had been watching. It detached from the station and jumped to faster than light speed. Somewhere, in a dark corner of the galaxy, alarms began to ring. The sleeping giants were starting to stir. Admiral Susan Clark sat in the war room on Earth. The message from Captain Bradley made no sense. Alien warnings about humans? Ancient stations with messages saying to keep humans sleeping? She looked at the other people around the table. General Torres, what do you make of this? She asked. General Jacob Torres studied the data on his screen. If this is real, it changes everything. We might not be who we think we are. Dr. Helen Brooks, the expert on old alien cultures, leaned forward. I've always wondered about the gaps in human history. The pyramids, Stonehenge. We had bronze tools but moved stones that weigh hundreds of tons. How? You're saying we were more advanced before? Asked Clark. I'm saying something doesn't add up, Helen said. And now we have alien messages going back thousands of years, all warning about us. Laura Davis, head of space communications, raised her hand. Admiral, there's something else. We've been getting similar signals here on Earth for years. We thought they were just cosmic noise. What kind of signals? Laura pulled up files on the main screen. Look, every month we get burst transmissions from deep space, all in alien languages. We could never translate them properly. But if I run them through the same system Dr. Turner used, the files changed. English words appeared. Monitor the humans, keep the barrier strong, never let them remember. The room went quiet. How long have we been getting these? General Torres asked. 40 years. Maybe more, Laura said. We have thousands of them. Admiral Clark stood up. I want every radio telescope on Earth pointing at deep space. I want to know who's sending these messages. And I want to know why. 3 days later, Laura had answers. But they weren't good answers. Admiral, the signals come from everywhere, from hundreds of different star systems, all saying the same thing. Hundreds of species? Helen asked. At least. Maybe thousands. They've all left warnings about us. Some messages are older than our solar system. Dr. Brooks pulled up historical maps. Look at this. These are human migration patterns from 50,000 years ago. They don't make sense either. We somehow got to places we shouldn't have been able to reach. What are you saying? General Torres asked. I'm saying we weren't always primitive. The evidence is everywhere if you look for it. Stone structures using technology we can't explain. Cave paintings showing things that shouldn't exist. Ancient batteries, flying machines, and old texts. Admiral Clark got a call on her secure line. It was Captain Nick Adams commanding the colony ship Endeavor. Admiral, we have a situation. Our colonists are acting strange. Strange how? They're having dreams. Vivid dreams about wars, about fighting with weapons that don't exist. Last night, 50 people had the same dream. What dream? They were warriors, Admiral. Commanding fleets of ships, using weapons that could destroy planets. They all woke up knowing things. Military tactics, star navigation, languages they never learned. Clark felt cold. Anyone else reporting this? I've gotten calls from 12 other colony ships. Same thing happening everywhere. On the frontier world of New Haven, Governor Paul Jackson dealt with bigger problems. Julie Parker, his chief administrator, ran into his office that morning. Sir, we have colonists building things, complex things, with scrap metal. What kind of things? I don't know. But they work. Power generators that shouldn't function. Communication devices picking up signals from solar systems we haven't mapped. And the people building them. They say they just know how. Paul followed. Julie to the workshop. 20 colonists worked on strange machines. Their hands moved with practiced ease, building devices that looked nothing like human technology. How do you know how to do this? Paul asked one worker, a farmer named Bill Chen. Bill looked up, confused. I just know. Like riding a bike. The knowledge is just there. What is this thing you're building? It's a scanner. It can detect energy patterns across light years. Bill paused. Though I don't understand how I know that. Back on Earth, Steve Mitchell worked in secret. As head of internal security, he had access to classified files. What he found scared him. Buried deep in government archives were reports going back decades. UFO sightings that weren't UFOs. Strange technology found in archaeological sites. Ancient artifacts that seemed to use unknown energy sources. But the most disturbing files were the recent ones. In the last month, people worldwide reported strange dreams. Dreams of being soldiers, scientists, explorers. Dreams of a vast galactic empire. Steve called his contact at the space monitoring station. Greg, I need a favor. Quietly scan for unusual brain activity patterns. Just humans. That's a weird request, Steve. Why? Just do it, and keep it off the books. 2 days later, Greg called back. Steve, you're going to think I'm crazy. But human brain patterns are changing. We're seeing activity in parts of the brain that are usually dormant. How many people? All of them, Steve. Everyone we've scanned. It's like we're turning on systems that have been off for thousands of years. Dr. Rachel Kim studied the dream. Reports from her office in New York. As a psychologist, she'd seen strange things, but this was different. The dreams weren't random, they followed patterns. Look at this, she told her assistant Tom Brady. Everyone dreams about the same basic things. Advanced weapons, star maps, military strategies. It's like they're remembering something. Not just dreaming. Remembering what? A life they never lived. Knowledge they never learned. Rachel pulled up brain scans. See these neural pathways? They're activating in patterns we've never seen before, like blueprints being activated. Meanwhile, Captain Bradley and the Horizon approached the coordinates from the alien station. Space looked empty, but their instruments showed something massive ahead. Whatever's there, it's big, Ben said from navigation. And it's hiding. Dr. Turner worked with Lisa to decode the final message from the alien station. Captain, there's something else. The message talks about a First Ones protocol, something the ancient humans left behind. For what? For this exact situation. For when they started to remember. Ryan stared at the empty space ahead. How long until we reach? The coordinates? 6 hours, Ben said. Good. Maybe then we'll get some answers. But on Earth, the questions kept growing. Admiral Clark assembled a crisis team. Scientists, military leaders, psychologists, everyone trying to understand what was happening to humanity. The evidence is overwhelming, Dr. Brooks said. We were something else once, something powerful, and now we're changing back. Can we stop it? General Torres asked. Laura looked at her screens. I don't think so. The pattern is accelerating. More people are having the dreams every day. More people are gaining these abilities. Admiral Clark made a decision. Alert all colonies. Alert all ships. Tell them what we know. If we're changing into something else, we need to be prepared." "Prepared for what?" someone asked. "For remembering who we used to be, and for dealing with whatever that means." Outside Earth's solar system, alien observers watched with growing fear. The barriers were failing. The sleeping giants were waking up, and once awake, there might be no stopping them. In her final report that day, Admiral Clark wrote, "Humanity faces an identity crisis unlike anything in recorded history. We may be more than we thought, and that might be the most terrifying thing of all." Across human space, people went to bed with normal dreams and woke up with knowledge of warfare, technology, and powers they'd never seen before. The transformation was beginning, and no one knew how to stop it. The galaxy waited to see what humanity would become. Dr. Angela Lopez worked alone in the secret lab beneath Colorado. For 3 months, she had studied the strange DNA patterns appearing in human samples. What she found changed everything. "Director, you need to see this," she told Director Ray Hughes over the secure line. "The dormant sequences in human DNA, they're not dormant anymore." "What do you mean?" "They're active, and when I isolated them in lab conditions, something incredible happened." Angela played back the security footage. A test subject, a volunteer named Carol White, sat in a chair. Electrodes monitored her brain activity. "Watch this," Angela said. "Carol is a normal office worker, no special training. But when we activated these DNA sequences..." On the screen, Carol suddenly stood up. Her eyes changed color, becoming bright silver. She moved to a wall and touched it. The metal wall began to bend under her fingers like it was made of clay. "She shouldn't be able to do that," Director Hughes said. "It gets better, or worse, depending on how you look at it." Angela fast-forwarded. Carol now stood in front of a blank computer screen. Without touching it, data began flowing across the display. She's accessing the computer with her mind. No interface needed. How is this possible? The DNA sequences contain information, not just biological instructions, but actual data, memories, knowledge, abilities. It's like we're biological computers that have been turned off. On New Haven, Governor Paul Jackson faced a colony in transformation. The strange abilities weren't rare anymore. They were becoming normal. "Status report," he asked Julie Parker. 50% of colonists now show enhanced abilities. Super strength, telekinesis, enhanced intelligence. We've had to redesign all our facilities because people keep accidentally breaking things. Accidentally? One colonist got angry and put his hand through a steel door. Another lifted a construction vehicle while helping with repairs. They don't mean to do it, they just do. Paul watched through his office window. A child, maybe 6 years old, floated above the playground. Other children played around her like it was normal. "What about the dreams?" he asked. "More detailed every night. People are remembering complete battles, star maps, scientific formulas. It's like a whole civilization's knowledge is downloading into their minds." On Earth, Dr. Rachel Kim documented the psychological changes. Her office was crowded with reports. "Tom, read this," she told her assistant. "Subject 347, a kindergarten teacher, now speaks 12 alien languages fluently. Subject 509, a retired mechanic, designed a new engine that, according to our physicists, shouldn't work but does." "It's global now, isn't it?" Tom asked. "Global. Every human tested shows the changes. But here's the scary part." Rachel pulled up brain imaging. The changes follow identical patterns, like we're all accessing the same database. Database of what? Military tactics, advanced science, engineering, medicine, but also weapons. Lots and lots of weapons. Captain Ryan Bradley reached the coordinates first. What his crew found changed everything they thought they knew about the universe. The empty space wasn't empty. As they approached, a massive structure became visible. It was artificial, the size of a small moon, built by dozens of different alien civilizations. "Captain," Lisa said from communications, "we're getting a signal. It's welcoming us." "Welcoming us how?" In English, standard Earth English, the view screen activated. Text appeared. "Greetings, children of the first ones. We have waited for you to remember. Dr. Turner stepped forward. Captain, this is incredible. Multiple alien languages on the hull, and they're all saying the same thing. Memorial to the human peace. What peace? Ryan asked. The structure responded. Data flooded their computers. Historical records, battle footage, scientific discoveries. The truth about humanity. My God, Ben whispered. We were everywhere. The entire galaxy. We controlled it all. The historical data played on their screens. Massive human fleets. Planets transformed by human terraforming. Technologies that made current science look primitive. But we were peaceful, Kate noted. Look at the later records. We stopped conquering. We started helping other species develop. More data, treaties, cultural exchanges, humans sharing technology, helping primitive species evolve. Then what happened? Ryan asked. The answer came as a video. A council of humans looking much like people today but with silver eyes and advanced clothing. We have become too powerful, the leader said. Our abilities, our technology, they make other species afraid. They cannot grow while we dominate. Simply by existing, we choose to step back. Step back how? Ryan asked the structure. By forgetting. By returning to simpler lives on your homeworld. By letting other species grow without our influence. But why the warnings? Why did everyone tell others to keep us sleeping? Because we asked them to. We created this memorial to truth. We knew one day you would rediscover your nature. We wanted you to understand the choice we made, so you could make your own choice. On Earth, Admiral Clark received urgent messages from multiple sources. The changes were accelerating. General Torres, what's the military status? Extraordinary, Admiral. Soldiers are demonstrating abilities that redefine combat. Response times increased by 300%. Problem-solving skills jumping off the charts. And some can interface directly with our computers. Can we control this? I don't think so. It's not happening to some of us. It's happening to all of us. Dr. Brooks added her findings. The archaeological evidence supports it all. Stone monuments we thought were primitive, they're actually remains of advanced technology, degraded over thousands of years. We've been finding pieces of our past all along, just didn't recognize them. Laura Davis reported on the alien communications. The messages have changed, Admiral. They're no longer warnings. Now they're apologies. Apologies? For keeping us from ourselves, for holding us back. They say they were only following our wishes, but now that we're remembering, they won't interfere with our choice. What choice? Dr. Angela Lopez entered the briefing room via secure video link. Admiral, based on our DNA research, humanity faces two paths. We can try to suppress these changes, remain as we are, or we can embrace them, become what we once were. And if we become what we once were? Based on the historical records Captain Bradley found, we become the most powerful species in the galaxy, not through force, but through ability. We were teachers, protectors, builders, but we were also unstoppable in war. General Torres asked the hard question. And the other species? They've been preparing, Laura said. Not for war, for negotiation. They know they couldn't stop us if they tried. They're hoping we make the same choice our ancestors did. On New Haven, the transformation reached a tipping point. Governor Paul watched as an emergency formed in the colony. Not from danger, but from rapid evolution. Governor, Julie reported breathlessly. You need to see this. The children. They're teaching. The adults. In the school, 6-year-olds explained advanced engineering to their parents. Teenagers demonstrated scientific principles that university professors struggled to understand. How? Paul asked. They don't remember it like the adults. For them, it's just natural, like we're seeing what humans can be when they grow up with these abilities from birth. As the Horizon continued studying the alien memorial, they found the final piece of the puzzle. A message left by ancient humanity for this exact moment. Dr. Turner read it aloud. To our descendants who have slept through ages, we were powerful. Beyond measure, We use that power to build and create. We stepped away when our presence prevented others from growing. Now you must choose. Remain as you are, equal among many, or reclaim your heritage and accept the responsibility that comes with power. Either choice honors our memory. Choose wisely. Ryan looked at his crew. What do we do? We report everything, Kate said, and let humanity decide. But the choice was already being made. Across human space, the dormant giant was awakening, and the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what humanity would choose to become. In secret monitoring stations across the galaxy, alien observers prepared for either outcome. Some updated diplomatic protocols, others prepared evacuation plans. All of them remembered why their ancestors had feared and respected humanity. The sleeping giants were fully awake. Now came the choice that would reshape the galaxy. The news spread through human space like wildfire. Captain Bradley's report from the alien memorial reached Earth Command within hours. Within days, every human in the colonized systems knew the truth. Dr. Helen Brooks watched the world change from her office in Geneva. The historical analysis was complete. Humans had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years before choosing to forget. The reaction is immediate, she told Admiral Clark over video call. People aren't just dreaming anymore, they're remembering. Real memories, real knowledge. How bad is it? Clark asked. Depends what you mean by bad. A janitor in Detroit rebuilt a Starship engine using spare parts. A farmer in Kansas solved energy equations that our best scientists couldn't crack. Bad for maintaining order? Absolutely. Bad for humanity? That remains to be seen. On the mining station Titan 7, Administrator Chris Morris faced a complete breakdown of normal operations, not because anything was broken, but because everything worked too well. Report, he told his assistant, Andy Watson. Sir, the miners finished extracting this month's quota in 3 days. They didn't use the machines. They just reached into the rock and pulled out the minerals with their bare hands. That's impossible. I watched it happen. Bill Turner punched through solid rock like it was sand. Maria Gonzalez melted ore by looking at it. They say it just feels natural. Chris looked at the security feeds. Workers moved through the station differently now. More confident, more aware. Their movements were too fast, too precise to be normal human motion. What about the equipment they built? The gravity manipulator is online. The force field generators are running at 300% of design capacity. And no one used any blueprints. Are they following safety protocols? They don't need to. Someone cut themselves on sharp metal yesterday. The wound healed in minutes. Another fell from a 30-foot height and landed on his feet like it was nothing. On Earth, the military faced an unprecedented situation. General Jacob Torres inspected the transformed soldiers at Fort Bragg. Combat specialist Samantha Green demonstrated abilities that redefined warfare. She caught bullets by moving too fast to see. She lifted a tank by its corner. She connected mentally with the base's computer systems and accessed tactical data without touching a keyboard. Sergeant Green, Torres said, "You've never seen this kind of training before?" "No, sir, but it feels like muscle memory, like I've done these things 1,000 times before. When I need to know something about combat tactics, the knowledge is just there." General Torres watched hundreds of soldiers perform similar feats. Enhanced strength, speed, tactical awareness, and something else. They moved as units with perfect coordination, communicating without words. "Colonel Davis," he asked his aide, "have we tested their combat effectiveness?" "Yes, sir. A squad of 10 ran full combat simulations against our best AI opponents. They won every scenario in less than half the projected time. Their efficiency is beyond any combat model we've ever seen. The transformation reached beyond physical abilities." President Mary Thompson met with emergency cabinet members as reports poured in from around the globe. "Madam President," said Secretary of Science Dr. Kevin Lee, "the technological advancements are exponential. Yesterday, a middle school student in Oregon designed a faster-than-light communication device. A grandmother in Florida invented a new, clean energy system using household items. "Are we maintaining social order?" she asked. "Barely. People quit their jobs because they suddenly know how to do what they've always dreamed of. Surgeons who trained for decades find themselves outperformed by nurses who woke up with perfect medical knowledge. Economic impact? Total disruption. When anyone can build advanced technology from scratch, traditional manufacturing becomes obsolete. Currency systems are meaningless when the person next to you can create gold at the atomic level. In space, alien observers monitored the situation with growing concern. Ambassador John Crixton of the Zephyri Collective spoke with representatives from 37 different civilizations. The humans are awakening faster than our historical models predicted, he reported. Full transformation appears likely within weeks, not decades. Options? Asked the Karathi representative. We could attempt suppression through electromagnetic fields, suggested the Tharnox delegate. That failed before, Crixton replied. Humans operating at full capacity would perceive our weapons as toys. Our ancestors learned this the hard way. Then we negotiate? We prepare for either outcome. If they choose the peaceful path their ancestors took, we welcome them back to the galactic community. If they choose a different path, we evacuate. The frontier worlds, finished the Vrothak counselor. On New Haven, the transformation created unexpected social structures. Governor Paul Jackson watched as traditional authority became irrelevant. Julie, people aren't listening to laws anymore, he told his administrator. They don't need to. Crime has vanished. People know what others need before they ask. Conflicts resolve themselves. It's like everyone shares a collective understanding. What about resources, food, shelter? People build what they need. A family needed a new home yesterday. By sunset, they'd grown one using bioengineering techniques that shouldn't exist. The house is better than anything our best architects could design. Grown, actual biological architecture, living walls, self-maintaining systems. No one taught them how. They just knew. Paul observed children playing in impossible ways. They floated, created energy constructs by thinking about them, and demonstrated knowledge that surpassed their parents. These kids never knew the limitations we grew up with, Julie noted. To them, these abilities are normal. We're watching the birth of a new species. Captain Ryan Bradley faced ethical dilemmas aboard the Horizon. His crew transformed before his eyes. Simple tasks became extraordinary displays of ability. Kate, he told his first officer, navigation just plotted a course through dimensions that shouldn't exist. The equations are correct, Captain. I can see them in my mind. Multiple universes, folding space, we could reach Earth in hours instead of weeks. How do you know this? I don't know how I know. The knowledge is simply there, like remembering your own name. Dr. Alex Turner worked with Lisa Martinez to decode messages from across the galaxy. The alien communications had changed tone completely. They're not warnings anymore, Alex reported. They're greetings, welcome home messages, and requests. Requests for what? Help, protection. The same things they asked ancient humanity for thousands of years ago. Disease eradication, planetary engineering, conflict resolution. They expect us to take up where our ancestors left off? They hope we will. But they're also scared. Because they remember what happened the last time we were fully awakened. Ryan contacted headquarters. Admiral Clark, we need guidance. My crew is becoming something beyond human. Good, beyond human. But also powerful beyond belief. All of humanity is facing this choice, Clark responded. We're calling an emergency session. All colony governors, all ship captains, we need to decide as a species. The session convened in virtual space. Leaders from across human civilization met in a digital forum that enhanced their newfound mental capacities. President Thompson opened. The question is simple. Do we embrace our heritage or fight against it? Can we fight it? Asked Governor Jackson from New Haven. My colony has already transformed. Trying to go back would be like trying to forget how to breathe. The military implications are enormous, General Torres reported. We've become the most powerful military force in galactic history. Every single human is now a living weapon. But we've also become healers, builders, teachers, Dr. Brooks added. The old records show we used our power to help, not harm. John Niao. Crixton appeared in the session by invitation. On behalf of the galactic community, we offer our perspective. Your ancestors chose to sleep because their very existence prevented other species from growing. Now you must choose again. And if we choose to remain awake? President Thompson asked. Then we hope you choose as wisely as your ancestors did. Use your power to protect and nurture. The galaxy needs what ancient humanity provided, but it also fears what modern humanity might become. The debate raged for hours. Some advocated for suppression, trying to return to normal. Others pushed for full embrace of their heritage. But as they argued, reports came in. The transformation was already too far along to reverse. Madam President, Dr. Lopez reported from her lab, the genetic changes are irreversible. Attempting to suppress them could kill anyone who tries. Then our choice is made, President Thompson said. The question now is not whether we awaken, but how we use our awakening. Admiral Clark proposed the framework. We establish new protocols, use our abilities responsibly, maintain the peaceful path our ancestors chose, but with eyes open to who we are. As the session concluded, reports came from across human space. People gathered in cities, not to riot or panic, but to build. Impossibly beautiful structures rose overnight. Scientific breakthroughs accumulated hourly. Art and music evolved into forms that transcended traditional understanding. The sleeping giants were fully awake. And unlike their ancestors, they would not choose to sleep again. The question remained, would they choose to be gentle giants or something else entirely? The United Nations building had never seen anything like it. Not just the expanded chamber that now included representatives from every human colony, but the people themselves. President Mary Thompson stood at the podium, her silver eyes reflecting the morning light. Like everyone else, she had changed. But unlike some, she remembered both lives. The quiet professor of history she had been, and the something more she was becoming. Fellow humans, she began, her voice carrying a resonance that made the words feel important. We stand at the crossroads our ancestors faced. The evidence is clear. The transformation is irreversible. The question before us is not whether to embrace our heritage, but how to live with it. In the audience, delegates from Earth, the colonies, and the frontier worlds listened with enhanced understanding. Everyone could sense the truth in words, feel the emotions behind them. Lying had become impossible. I see 3 paths ahead, Thompson continued. Isolation. We withdraw from galactic society to keep others safe from us. Integration. We rejoin the galactic community as our ancestors did, using our abilities to help. Or conquest. We take what we can because we have the power to do so. A murmur ran through the assembly. Not spoken words, but shared thoughts. The third option felt wrong to most, but the temptation was there. They could take anything they wanted now. Captain Ryan Bradley addressed the assembly via hologram from the horizon. I've seen what our ancestors left for us. Not just warnings, but wisdom. They were powerful enough to conquer the galaxy, but wise enough to choose service over domination. His first officer, Kate Johnson, joined him. The alien memorial contains records of thousands of species we helped, planets we saved, civilizations we guided to independence. Our ancestors didn't just sleep. They chose to let others grow. Governor Paul Jackson reported from New Haven. On my colony, the children show us our potential. They use their abilities, naturally without the weight of what was. They build, they create, they heal. They show us what we can become if we choose growth over fear. Dr. Angela Lopez presented her final findings. The DNA changes include something unexpected, a failsafe built into our genetics by our ancestors. If we choose conquest over cooperation, our abilities begin to fade. If we choose to help, they strengthen. The assembly stirred. Even in transformation, their ancestors had guided them toward wisdom. John Crixton, representing the galactic community, appeared as a hologram. We do not come to threaten or beg. We come to offer partnership. The galaxy needs what ancient humanity provided: protection for the weak, solutions to problems that span star systems, wisdom to prevent wars before they start. And if we refuse? General Torres asked. We hope you do not, Crixton replied simply. But we will respect your choice, as we respected your ancestors' choice to sleep. Throughout the chamber, delegates felt each other's thoughts and feelings. The decision was becoming clear, not through argument but through shared understanding. Lisa Martinez, the communications officer, accessed the vast galactic network. Her mind touched millions of alien consciousnesses. They're not afraid anymore, she reported. They're hopeful. They remember what we were like before. They want that back. But we're not the same people, Ben Collins noted. We have our ancestors' abilities but our own experiences. That might be better, Dr. Helen Brooks suggested. We have their power but also humility from the time we spent powerless. We understand both sides now. The debate continued for days. Not shouting matches or political maneuvering, but deep discussions where truth became impossible to hide. People shared memories, fears, hopes. On New Haven, the colony had already transformed into something beautiful. Buildings that lived and breathed. Gardens that produced food in impossible abundance. Children who played games with starlight. Julie Parker, the chief administrator, compiled the reports. Crime zero, poverty eliminated. Disease eradicated. Everyone contributes according to ability and receives according to need. Not because of laws, but because ignoring someone's need has become as impossible as ignoring your own pain. Across human space, similar transformations occurred. Earth cities rebuilt themselves overnight. Ancient polluted areas healed. Technology advanced not for profit, but for improvement of life. Yet with the gifts came responsibility. Dr. Rachel Kim documented the psychological changes. People report knowing too much, feeling others' pain as their own. The young adapt easily, but those who remember being normal struggle with the weight of constant empathy. We must help each other adjust. The assembly reached its conclusion through consensus rather than vote. President Thompson spoke for them all. We choose the path of service our ancestors chose, but we do so with eyes open. We will not sleep again. We will not hide our abilities. We will use them wisely. Admiral Susan Clark announced the practical decisions. We establish the guidance protocol. Human intervention in galactic affairs follows 3 principles: help when asked, protect the defenseless, and foster independence in all species. General Torres outlined military doctrine. Our combat capabilities now exceed our ancestors at their peak. We use this power for protection only. Any human who uses force for conquest loses their enhanced abilities permanently. Dr. Brooks presented the Cultural Exchange Program. We share knowledge, but never impose our solutions. We teach but also learn. We remember that wisdom comes in many forms. The session concluded with a message to the galaxy. Ryan Bradley, now promoted to Ambassador of First Contact, read the declaration. To all peoples of the galaxy, we have awakened to ourselves. We remember what we were and choose what we will become. The sleeping giants sleep no more, but neither do we seek dominion. We offer our abilities in service of all life. We seek to protect, to teach, to heal, and to grow alongside you. The response from the galaxy was immediate. Not fear, but celebration. Species that had waited thousands of years for humanity's return welcomed them back. The Vrothak sent art. The Zephyri offered scientific collaboration. The Tharnox, who had been ready to flee, instead proposed cultural exchanges. Humanity stepped back onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors or children, but as partners. 6 months later, Captain Bradley visited the alien memorial one final time. It had transformed into something new, no longer a warning or a goodbye, but a celebration. New messages appeared from species across the galaxy. Simple messages of welcome, of gratitude, of hope. Dr. Turner translated the newest inscription, added by the humans themselves. We were mighty, then we were meek. Now we choose to be wise. The dreamers wake, not to rule but to serve. The giants rise, not to tower but to lift others up. This is our choice. This is our path. Walk with us. As the horizon returned to Earth, Bradley looked at his transformed world through new eyes. Cities that seemed to breathe, ships that moved like living things, people who created wonders while helping their neighbors. The sleeping giants had awakened. And in awakening, they had chosen not to be giants at all, but partners in the great dance of galactic civilization. Across the stars, life celebrated. The terrifying prophecies of the ancients had been wrong. Humanity had not become the gods of destruction everyone feared. They had become something better. Teachers, protectors, builders, and friends. The galaxy was no longer waiting for the humans to wake up. It was moving forward with them, toward futures none could have imagined alone. In the end, the greatest power humanity discovered was not in their abilities, but in their choice to use them wisely. The sleeping giants had become something their ancestors could never have foreseen, humble in their power, gentle in their strength, and wise in their service. The awakening was complete. The choice was made. And the galaxy moved forward together toward a brighter dawn.